You went so we see you there with the Intercontinental Championship, and there was a photo that somebody had tweeted the other day, and it got me thinking, and it was a photo from... Do you guys remember the photo from 2011 of, like, Punk, Beth Phoenix, Cody, Zack Ryder? And it was, like, this whole idea of, like, a new era was coming of all these people, and we're, like, 7 years later, and it still is... Brock Lesnar's the champion, and he turns up once every 4 months. I guess my question to you is 2011... You are the Intercontinental Champion, and there is this kind of wave of like Punk's coming up as champion. There's all these new faces. Did you guys think that was going to be the beginning of something new? And what do you remember about that time?
That day, we were in Boston. The Boston still photo area is kind of like infamously really like this long stretch of hallway you have to go down. And Punk coordinated that photo. He made sure he texted everybody, hey, be there at this time. And that was rare. We weren't all like buddy, and to do that, I think he had a priority with the photo. He wanted what you said to be prominent. He wanted to kind of usher in this new era, and this was the perfect crop. If you looked at it, it was Air Boom and Zach and you know, Dan and Beth, and it was just the like perfect crew. It was just the perfect storm. I didn't get at the time. I just thought we were just taking a photo, and I remember he kind of like went really in on everybody. Hey, please don't tweet this. Please don't tweet this. And then he tweeted it like 20 minutes after we left. I always thought Zach did. For the longest time, I gave Zach a hard time. Like, you're such a I told you not to tweet it. You tweeted it, but it was him, and I think he wanted to send that message, and he was right. Punk was right. It was definitely time for the turn, time for the change. But I think maybe, and I'm kind of burying myself with this, but it's the truth. I was really young at the time. Maybe we weren't ready. I think Punk was ready, but I don't think everybody else in the picture, definitely not me, definitely not Seidel. I don't think we were ready for the amount of responsibility it would be in 2011 to take the reins and what Arn Anderson calls the golden circle, which is the guys who make the most money and appear on the most pay-per-views, and it's limited. It's like 6 guys, and as you know, it hasn't really changed. But yeah, I can say I think he had the right idea. But yeah, but back to that photo, it lives in infamy. It's every day someone shows me, like, what do you think of this? It was a really good time. This is pre-Yes Movement, Dan, right? It's just now.
Do you feel you now get what Punk meant?
Yeah, I think I now fully see. Shawn Michaels was the one who told me, and I forget why. He's always yelling at me about something, and I'll tell you 2 things about Shawn Michaels. But he told me, he goes, getting over it's a full-time job, and I thought, like, seems like what you're saying seems, but it was one of those, like, it's a full-time job, Cody. Like, really, like, aggressive about it? And I thought, oh, I get it. He's really trying to sell this to me. Don't blow it off. All right, so real quick, Shawn Michaels moment that happened. We wrestled in Montreal at this pay-per-view called Breaking Point. I think it was only one time. And I screwed up his super kick. Ooh. I didn't really screw it up, but to him, I screwed it up. I kind of rushed it, so it was a little shorter. It was like a shorter version. It still made like a noise and stuff. But I come to the back, and I have the utmost respect for Shawn Michaels. He was one of my favorites of all time. I felt this has never happened. It seemed like it was black magic, essentially. He grabs me by under my arms and lifts me off the floor. And this is Shawn in like 2009, 10, right? So he's a little bit more frail.
This is like chill Shawn Michaels.
Bro, I mean, my feet were literally like kicking. And I got one thing. I got one thing. Don't you? And I thought, how am I off the ground? Like, how am I off the ground? And everyone was watching, and just like Vince just like staring at him, and you know. And then he went to yelling at somebody else, and he walked out, and Hunter, like, played good cop to it or whatever. But after that, I thought, don't mess with Shawn Michaels, man. He's just the strongest human being alive, dude. It's unreal. Double tendons, maybe. There has to be a reason for that. There was no leverage, no reason he was able to lift me off the ground. But he did it, and it was for more than 5 seconds, like a child.
you were going to talk about another time that Shawn Michaels told you something.
Oh, I forgot. What was this?
Oh, no, but being the full-time guy. It's a full-time job. Being the guy.
I totally forgot. What were we talking about?
The photo.
Bro.
Okay. So anyway, so you take that photo, you, Punk, all these different people. Now you kind of get where Punk was coming from all these years later. Shawn told you, no, it's a full-time job.
Yep.
Intense, steady face. But I guess...
Yeah, at the time, Punk got that. He was working those main events, hard main events, 25 to 35 minutes each night. He was filling every day. He was doing media. He was doing all the things that is required of you to move forward as more than a pretend wrestler. Nothing offends me more in wrestling than pretend wrestlers, the guys who wrestle 2 to 4 times a month, and they try to get all their wrestling experience in. Like, oh, well, we got to go to the bar, too. You know, wrestlers do that, and we got to... Like, no. Like, wrestling is... If people ever pay to see you, ever part with their money to see you, you can't just be a pretend wrestler. You have to fully be committed to it and live it and breathe it and just have to have that, so...